Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Bernardston Select Board meeting for Wednesday, November 2nd, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Just a reminder to all that this meeting is being broadcast live on BNC TV and live streamed on YouTube. To find BNC TV on YouTube, search for the Bernardston-Northfield Community Television. This meeting will be available for later viewing by following the link at thetownofbernardston.org. And we'll start tonight with the warrants. We'll entertain a motion for the payroll warrant in the amount of $44,971.62.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll entertain a motion for the vendor warrant in the amount of $634,578.35.
So moved.
Second.
Just for reference on that, $615,833 of that is for the Pioneer Valley Regional School District assessment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Entertain a motion for the regular meeting minutes of October 19th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Calendar and announcements. Just a reminder that there's 1 day left for early voting. Thursday, November 3rd, 2022 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Town Hall. The Bernardston-Leiden Public Safety Task Force has a meeting Thursday, November 3rd at 11 a.m. at the Bernardston Town Hall and is also being held on Zoom. The Board of Health will have a meeting on Thursday, November 3rd at 3 p.m. at the Town Hall. The Recreation Commission registrations for basketball and cheerleading will be on Thursday, November 3rd at 5 p.m. at the Town Hall. The Planning Board has a meeting on Thursday, November 3rd, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Town Hall. And the general election will be held on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at the Town Hall. Any other citizens' concerns not on the agenda? We'll bring you up under new business, Jared, okay? I know Jen's on the agenda. So Jen, why don't you come up? You're our first appointment for the Rec Commission.
Okay. You want to come? Okay, this is Andrew.
How we
He's
doing?
on the board with me. He's one of the four of us. So I'm going to go with my phone for a second because I don't remember all of this. But we had our soccer jamboree, which was a ginormous success. 27 teams came at Pride Field. Parking was amazing. Only hiccup was people who are handicapped. We're gonna figure something out because it was kind of a little walk for them. And then people decided to move the cones going to Pratt Field and drove up. So minor issue. But with that, I have some good news. There was 36 hours donated by the National Honor Society from Pioneer. There was 61 hours spent by the rec department setting this event up. There was 40 community hours from volunteers, and not counting the highway department for mowing, equaled 137 hours for this event.
Wow.
And we raised $830 at the Snack Shack.
Good.
So that was like a really cool thing. So this was a really successful soccer season. And so we put together this, and it has all the teams. And then we did a ginormous one of the kids, the whole entire league for Bernardston-Leiden. And there was close to 70 kids.
Wow.
So we're giving this to you guys.
group.
You guys can hang it up in Town Hall. We thought it was pretty impressive
Yeah.
to see that many kids come out and play soccer.
Yeah, that's great.
Good, healthy exercise.
Yeah. Heard a lot of positive comments about Saturday from a lot of different people.
It was really good. I mean,
Really?
we were on the ball with it, and it showed. Lou was there. He was representing the town, along with his kids and his wife, helping out. So it was really good. It was nice to see everybody outside having fun,
Great.
because it's been a long time since that
It has.
event has really happened the right way. Then, I guess we'll switch gears.
Yeah.
So we would like to build a mini driving range at Pratt Field for the kids that we coached last summer.
Driving what?
Golf.
Okay.
So
So what does that entail?
So my husband is volunteered to build like little portable tee boxes, like 6 of them, and then somehow they'll have little wheels and we can put them in the shed, and then we want to put up a net. And then the new Pioneer golf coach says he would be willing to give lessons, and the proper lessons for the kids, and teach them chipping, putting, and driving, so we can keep Pioneer's golf team moving.
So would the net be a permanent thing? or-
No, we could take it down
Okay.
somehow
And store it where?
in the shed. Yeah,
there?
it wouldn't need to be that big. I mean, we did it last year at the driving range, but there's been some complications in our district, so we'll just say we're not going there.
Yep.
So the kids drove it like probably the max of like 175, but driving isn't everything. So if they could learn the real game and like chipping all these things, it would help them to become little future golfers.
Yeah, I think it's. I mean,
So they'd be just hitting into a net.
Yes.
Where you gonna get all the balls and,
Well, we have a bunch, and we know people.
okay.
like the way she
And we get donations too. I know some people in town that have some balls in their house.
Stan.
So, and what would you use to pick the balls up with? I mean, it's,
There's those little like shaggers, and those ones that working with the kids would go and pick them up.
okay.
Because it would only be open for them. It's not gonna be open in the town. It's just to give lessons to the summer rec kids.
So you put the portable platforms out and then you put them away when
Yeah.
you're done that day.
Yep.
So it's not like the public's gonna come and whack
Walk off
balls.
with them.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I don't have a problem with it.
I agree, it's good.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Do you have a preference of where we should aim for, I guess, is our next question.
I would suggest you get with Brian Minor
Okay.
That's a good idea.
and talk to him, and of course, who owns the land? No, you wouldn't be going onto the water department land
No,
anyways. No,
I wouldn't shoot that way. I was thinking, like if you're back to the snack shack, I was thinking going that way.
Yeah.
I was thinking towards the farm, but then I was like, no, forget that.
There's somebody hit a good one then if you do.
Yeah, yeah. Get with Brian, and he could probably help you.
Lay it out. 'Cause
Right.
he might want to keep it a little shorter for you too, to
Right.
make it easier to pick up the balls.
And then we would also like to build a ice skating rink at Cushman Park, which would be portable. We would take it down once spring comes.
What's the matter with the pond?
What, where?
You can't put a lot of people on the pond.
Which
Okay.
pond?
Huh?
The little Cushman
Library
pond.
Oh, please.
Huh?
Used to.
Two leg pumps and you're at the other end.
They used to skate on it.
Yeah.
You just can't put a lot of people on it.
Yes.
So how would you
How do we
a-
build this? With some wood, and we're hoping to get some donations for plastic, like big sheets.
And the water to flood it would come from.
We're hoping the town,
The fire department. Yeah.
You know, they go by my road every day, you know, on Wednesdays.
I think you'd have to be careful of the hydrants in the winter and turning them on and off.
Well, if
I
we
don't
flood
know
it
that.
once, we figured we should be.
Would that really, what would that do to the grass?
Not sure.
It's winter time.
Yeah,
It goes up after the growing season and comes down before the growing season.
And for the hydrants, you probably have to talk to the water department as well, because that's not really a town entity.
Okay.
That's a private.
I just
business.
wonder about it, if the old Cushman house lot wouldn't be a better spot for it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yes,
no,
where the house used to be.
Yeah, no, because that's, who cares if that grass is,
True.
it looks to be pretty level in there.
Yeah, you could look at it.
Yeah.
You take a peek at it, and you'd still have a place to park cars in front of it,
Right.
so.
That's a good idea.
Let me see if,
Yeah, maybe look into that a little bit more. The water piece of it might be tougher because we can't say go tap onto a hydrant. That's,
Right.
they might want the town to pay for it. I don't know.
Okay.
yeah, either place, I mean,
Yeah.
you find a place. I don't think, now, what would I do to our town liability, Lou? As far as,
Should fall under recreation, I would think.
Yeah,
Kids.
we're covered for that.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, you need to have something around here in the wintertime.
Right.
I
Anybody?
mean, I'd love to skate on it, but I would.
And then people would feel safe because it's not on a pond, because there's those people who are paranoid of having their kids on ponds. So.
Yeah.
And it's still a temporary structure, so it shouldn't matter, right? With the rules over there.
No, that's not permanent. But either place, I was just thinking that's a lot that, we don't use, and you still have a place to park. Because that's the biggest thing, you don't want to take away the parking if you're going to have a skate rink,
Right.
so you have a place for people to park.
And would this also be something that should be brought to the Cushman Hall Committee?
Yes.
Good
That's a
idea.
Good point.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have a guesstimate as to how much fundraising you need to get the plastic?
Not exactly.
Okay.
We're gonna try a couple of plastic companies and see if they'll donate. But I was told if we have to buy it, between 1,000 and 1,500, right?
That
Ish.
much?
Yeah.
And how big is it, do you think? Regulation?
No,
NHL.
smaller than. Smaller than that. That's
Okay.
that's what we are figuring. Smaller than that.
And this for which age group, or do you?
Anybody.
Anybody.
Adults can use it.
Okay.
So it'd be like a family event, community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Scheduling?
Yeah,
I want to play checking hockey on it, and you want to skate circles.
All right. Well, you can set up your time. You can have the nighttime slot at like 6 p.m. I'll take the morning slot.
We're used to the 2:00 shift in
Oh, okay.
the morning. Yeah.
Charge him a big fee.
But we figured if we did it, then we could have like a few times where maybe we could bring some music, and then we could sell hot chocolate,
Yeah.
Yeah.
make it fun. And we have a couple of kids in town that are pretty good skaters that, might give out a couple lessons here and there. Josh Bordeaux.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
great.
All right.
Just get back to us on what you find out and where it's going to be, and
And Lou can give you the contact for the Cushman Hall folks. He can help you with
Yeah,
that.
we'll talk about that, and probably for construction and maybe actual placement, Brian would be another good
yeah, gonna
resource.
reach out to Brandon Grover for the Cushman
Yeah.
Hall Committee.
Yep.
I'm sure they won't have an issue, but we try to keep them in the
Yeah.
loop on everything over there.
Makes sense. And then the dirt for Pratt Field, is that coming soon? I'm hoping for
Brian
the
was working on that
okay
last
for the
time.
stop. Okay, so we're done with it. So they can dump the dirt and we can start from scratch.
I know Brian had a line on that. I don't
Yeah.
know exactly
Yeah,
what's
place in
coming.
Vermont has it.
Yeah. So we're good with since soccer's over. It won't be in the way. And my other concern is basketball and cheerleading is starting, and I know that the gym door at Bernardston Elementary School is out of service.
I do know the school custodial folks are looking, and I know Gretchen has reached out to a locksmith to get
So-
that door repaired. Whether it's been done yet or not, I don't know.
So that's
that
my
was in
other-
her purview.
So that's my concern is cheerleading starts Friday.
Yeah, that's, we can reach back out to the school, but that's a school maintenance item.
Mhm.
It's not a
So
town item.
so temporarily, the girls get out of school at 2:00 and they're gonna walk out the back side of the gym door, and I'm gonna put them to the front. But on Sunday morning, we're not sure what we're doing yet, so we might be rerouting them through the cafeteria to come through. So
Currently, we're gonna be at the hands of the school for that
Yeah.
repair.
so just letting you guys know where we're at with that, and hopefully we'll have a good basketball season. Fingers crossed.
Good.
Yeah.
Jen,
I
do
think
you
you
also
got a
want
lot.
to talk about the tournament we talked about? You might dust that off, get that going again?
Oh,
Basketball.
yes. So the 3-4 basketball tournament will be held at Bernardston again. It's been a while, but we're going to bring it back. I did talk to Seth at Vernon, and he said he was okay with that.
Good.
Because Bernardston started it. We stopped doing it. Hinsdale picked it up. But the problem with Hinsdale running it, they can't lower their nets down. So they run them at high school level. And so when you're playing with first, second, and third graders,
It's a little tough.
it is a little tough. So we have the capability of dropping the hoops down. So we're going to bring it back, which will be fun for the kids.
Good.
And that'll be first weekend in March. That's the game plan.
We just sort of keep in mind with that to work with the school as far as town recs responsible for cleaning up after
Right.
games and things like
Yeah.
that.
And we've gone through, signed our paperwork already off with them, so we're good.
Great.
I think that's everything.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks for all the hard work.
Okay.
Yes.
It's a great
Awesome.
event.
Congratulations on the event. Yeah.
Thanks.
For sure. Okay, that's it for our appointments. So new business, we have Jared Smith from the Bernardston Snowmobile Club.
Gil Live.
That's right too. I always forget that. one.
BGL.
Yeah, say it right. 'cause I always screw it up.
anyways.
I always forget the Gil part.
Yeah.
Sorry, Gil.
So I'm looking for my annual permission to utilize Pratt Field for the club swap meet. Same area over by the bathrooms, stay out the ball fields.
And what's the date of that again?
It'll be the 13th of November from 9 to 1, approximately. Depending on people, if there's no one there, we close up earlier.
And it shouldn't be an issue because Jen just said the rec was done over at the fields now, so. Does anybody have an issue with
I don't
Snowmobile Club
no.
doing that annual event?
It's our 21st year doing it, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great event.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to make a vote on that. Just
And if you like, by consensus is fine.
consensus is fine. You want to make a motion, Stan?
I'll make a motion to allow the Snowmobile Club to use Pratt Field on November 13th from 9 to whatever for their swap.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Jared.
Thank you.
Next up, we have old business. The land donation that we spoke about at our last meeting. Lou has reached out to Donna McNichol, Town Council, and she did say that it will require a town meeting vote to accept that donation. She also suggests that this board go do a walk around on that lot to just give eyes on it to make sure we're not getting ourselves into something we might not want to get into. I think that's probably a good idea. We probably should try to plan that this fall. And so we can have our ducks in a row when town meeting time comes around. If we have a special before then, we should be able to put on a special article at that point. You have any more to add from what Donna mentioned, Lou, on that?
No, I printed out the email that she sent that advised the appropriate steps to take, and it's pretty straightforward, it looks like. You know, I think the big question mark then would be when we take a tour over there and just kind of gauge if there's anything that might be questionable.
Might be a liability for the town.
Yeah.
Right? Does anybody have any other thoughts or feelings about it at this point?
When was the last time we accepted a donation of land? Recently?
I think we did near the elementary school from Harry Seeger, who lived at the end of School Road,
Yeah.
that they were going to utilize for some outdoor education.
Right.
I'm not
the
sure
wetland there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that ever got developed. I don't think it did, but it would be east of the parking lot at the elementary school. You can
Okay.
picture it in your head,
All right.
that wetland area. I think that's the last time I can remember.
And that
I
was
think I was actually on the board when that.
Well, we
10
did
years
ex-
ago then?
We did accept
That
Bud
range?
Foster's here just recently.
Oh, that's right too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Okay.
That's even more recent. I forgot
Yeah.
all about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't happen often.
Right.
This lot's pretty far down from the.
Yeah, in fact, Jared Smith, who was just here for the Snowmobile Club, pulled it up on his phone on the aerials. And
Yeah.
it does tie directly into the Pratt Field, and it is a location where they did have, up to 2 years ago, a bridge that crossed the brook. And if we did acquire that piece of land, it would give them access up into the widened trails again.
I can't imagine
Which
it
they have
could be,
lost.
being an aquifer that there could be much wrong with it.
Right.
Because that's the aquifer that's in.
So I think we probably should talk to the landowner,
Okay.
just to say the board's in support of it, and
Yep.
just let them know it has to go before a town meeting vote.
And there is a monetary, because you're giving up on the taxes on it.
Right.
And it's not a big number, I think.
Yeah, the taxes, I believe, were $163 a year, so.
So not a big impact.
Yeah.
How does everybody feel about wanting to try to figure out a time we can go walk around
Sure.
over there, check it out? We probably should do diligence to do that. Well,
Maybe plan it on one of our days that we're going to visit the other
Yeah.
town buildings.
that's a good idea. Tie it in with that.
That's coming up at some point.
Yeah, that's on
November.
my list for tonight to talk about. Okay. You good with that, Stan?
Yep.
We'll just let the landowner know that we're
Yeah.
interested in moving forward with that.
Okay, I'll make that call tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hunting season? Wear your bright red
We'll send
jackets.
Stan in first.
That's a good idea.
We'll send you in first if it's hunting season.
No, okay.
Make a lot of noise. Okay, next up on our old business, the gas tanks at the highway garage. Lou, I'm going to let you talk more about that since you've had a direct conversation with Brian Miner about that, if you don't mind.
Okay, I was not expecting that, but that's all right.
You like the curveballs.
In your packets tonight, put several documents together. Brian and I were talking yesterday about this.
Brian Miner.
Brian Miner,
Yes.
as opposed to any of the others. Seems to be a popular name here in the Big B. We were talking about this, and in the course of talking with Roberts Energy, Courtney Samuels there, who we've dealt with in the past, and she's always been very helpful, kind of guided us away from the 1,000-gallon tank, potentially running the risk of getting stale fuel if it sits too long. What Roberts has proposed is a 500-gallon tank, and as you can see, they would charge $5,850 for the installation, for the tank and the installation. That does not include the electrical hookups. We would have to get the electrician to come in and do all his sparky work. And that compares, if you look a little further down in your pile, the estimate from Sandry was over $14,000.
But that was for the 1,000-gallon tank.
No, that's actually 500.
Oh.
Yeah, the 1,000 was $18,000. And if you remember where the conversation started, Brian had approached a company, I forget where they are, I think out in the central part of the state, and they were over $20,000 for a 1,000-gallon tank. So all things considered, the 5850 seems like a good deal. There's a question, and there's more printed material here for you to peruse. The access system that Roberts recommends is a little more expensive than the one that Sandry had offered. Stan and I spoke earlier today and kind of floated out there if it's really a necessity to have that. I know for an accounting purpose it makes it easy, but if a pump is out there and the power switch is in your building, you go, you turn it on, you turn it off, and it's certainly an option that would not cost anything, although you do run the risk of somebody forgetting to turn it off or write down what they put in their vehicle. So that remains a question mark, but that's the homework that Brian and I have done so far on this. And
So this was still going to be able to be used by the police for
correct.
gas? And
Yes. Yeah,
so-
in fact, the gasoline, it seems that would probably be the biggest user of it would be the police.
And if the access was in the highway garage, can we trust the police to go in the highway garage?
Well, they'd have to have keys. Everybody would have to have keys for the highway garage.
Yeah, and again,
Or-
this is
or
part of the
combination.
logistics of making this happen.
I mean, I think it can work. I think it's just going to involve another conversation with Brian understanding
Right.
that fact, unless you put a secondary turn on
And
in the police
yeah,
station.
And really, that is something, when it comes to electrical connections, anything is possible, but they all carry a price with them.
Right.
Okay, I guess to get our ducks in a row, we got to find out what it will cost to have this thing completely installed.
Counting the wiring, you're saying, right?
Huh?
Counting the wiring.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're going to have a price on that. The software, I didn't think the software was going to be that expensive, $7,300 for the software. And then it's $29 a month after the first year.
Do the numbers add up right on that page?
It
On the
doesn't,
second
you're right.
page?
They do not.
Okay.
It's a good catch.
And this was a
The
form
numbers
that
don't add up, correct?
this was a form that Brian gave to me, and he was busy today, so I didn't get a chance
Yep.
to talk to him.
Okay.
So I don't know if Courtney put in what the actual retail price is, the $8,000 one, and then said, "But we can give it to you for."
Right,
and
that could
that's
be,
how-
yep.
So that remains a question mark. Alternatively, and you may remember I spoke about a YouTube video that Bill from Sandry had sent to me. I did look at that. I looked at that system. and it's very high tech, and it's less than that. So there's still a little bit of homework needs to be done by all of us to see what is going to be the most sensible approach.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, I know you and I had a conversation about this yesterday, and Brian's feeling that with this service, he's going to do better per gallon than he's currently paying, in the range of 40 to 50 cents a gallon currently, which obviously is a variable.
Yeah, and it looks like, because a little further down, I think I gave you what Sandry's
Yes, you did, yep.
prices are today. Bill put me on their daily mail updates, and if we were a cash customer of theirs, today we would have paid $3.30 a gallon for regular gasoline.
Yep.
Okay,
So based on what the pump price is next door, it was 49 cents difference.
Go ahead, Stan.
I'm trying to figure this invoice out, this quote. It's got a fuel management quote of $8,452. That's a base kit.
The math doesn't work.
Huh?
The math.
No, it doesn't. This thing is kind of funny on this, because the next column is software and monthly fees. The software is $348.
Add the two of them together, that's $8,800 exactly.
And
And the quote's only $7,300.
And then you got the pedestal or base for $695. So what is this?
Yeah, that was what Lou was just saying. He's going to have to find out if she might have been discounting it if we bought the tank from them as well. But that's a question for sure.
Yeah, there's just no way.
And you still, as Lou said, there's many different fuel management systems that are out there on the market.
Well, I would like to go, and I think we should at least get the tank.
Yeah, maybe we can clean this quote up and find out what the electrical's all going to cost. and know what the total
Let's
thing would be.
get a complete,
We're close. We're close.
a complete quote on everything.
All right, I will call Courtney tomorrow and get it direct from her as to interpretation of this where the math doesn't add up. Because if that's a discount, as I said, if you look back to that $84.52 for the 500-gallon tank, still that compares with over 14,000 at Sandry.
Yep.
And I'm not really, I'm not buying a thing that the gas is going to sit there so long it's going to get bad if you have a 1,000-gallon tank, because you're going to go through at least 500 gallons a month. So there you're going to be dumping 500 gallons into that tank every month. So I don't think it's ever going to get to the point where it's going to get bad. But if we don't need 1,000, we can get by with 500. It is cheaper. But when I'm talking about a quote, we need to have a piece of paper that shows the purchase of that, the software, electrical work, what it's going to cost us to have them just drive up to the pump and start pumping. Everything done. Now, I don't know if Brian's planning on doing some cement work himself for this. Or,
Yeah, that was the original conversation, as he said that he would take on any pad pouring.
but we've got to find that out, and hopefully we can get this. Be nice to get at least a pad poured before it gets so cold it can't. This is what we're going to do, gentlemen.
Yeah, and just run by Brian again how he feels it will work for police and fire that uses very little gas, fire department. But the chief's car is a gas vehicle, how they would access the on-off switch.
I think it's going to be more, like I say, it's going to be more for the police than anything else.
Yeah.
Because
And I know we have it at work, there's a locked box on the outside of our building that turns our pumps on, that everybody has a key to, so you don't have to go in the building. It unlocks a little door, then you can turn the switch on, and then you lock the door when you're done filling your car up. So they wouldn't have to physically get into the highway garage.
Let me get with Brian tomorrow morning, and we can maybe finalize some kind of a layout, if you will. And
Because they'll
then,
probably want a light over there of some sort too,
Yeah.
for nighttime, to be able to see
Yeah,
it, which
they'd have to
should be easy while you have an electrician there anyway.
yeah, well, we were projecting the electrical cost probably $2,000, maybe $3,000.
Yeah.
You know, based on what the charges were when they did all the work over at the transfer station shed.
Right.
Yeah, but they have power out there already.
For
They
the
have
diesel.
power there too.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, we'll see what it is.
Security camera?
Another good idea.
Oh,
Because if you're gonna go
Right,
with your suggestion, somebody forgets to relock it and they drive
Right.
away.
and that shouldn't be that hard for a security camera.
Yeah.
I'm sure Chief Palmieri has something on that building already anyway.
Well, and we just upgraded his cameras, I think in the spring or early summer, so he's definitely got a connection there.
Yep. Okay, so more to follow with that. Maybe next meeting we can put that to bed.
be
Fingers
nice.
crossed. Yeah, it would be. That's it under old business. Stan, do you have any other business you'd like to bring out?
No, just a quick update on the memorial down here, the Veterans Memorial. We've had meetings with several people. We've been talking to the Capital Strategic. Marvin has given them a history of the memorial. He has followed up with other things, so that paperwork has now been signed and sent in, and we got a response back from the grant committee that they have our paperwork, and we'll have to wait now. We'll have to do some more work in January to give it some more attention and to have, finalize the details as far as money and whatnot. Marvin has reached out and found somebody to paint the flagpoles. That was going to be done on Monday, but because of the weather, they changed that, and I think it's going to be maybe this Sunday. So that is in place. We have the quotes from Keene Monument coming in. Marvin reached out for them, and they came over and met with us, so we've got that all under control. So there's a lot going on, and I think we're heading in the right direction. We'll just have to wait and see and keep our fingers crossed that we'll get some grant money.
Great. Ken, do you have anything you'd like to bring up?
Just the winterization of the second floor of the Powers Institute is ready to be done.
Yeah, I did that last night,
Oh,
so that's done.
it's all winterized?
Yep.
Oh, good.
And Lou had a conversation with Luella, so she knows it.
Okay, good.
And
Thank you.
He had more than one conversation with Jen too. We were trying to find the right key for the museum door, which is
Right.
different than the senior center door.
Uh-huh. It's not
So
on
that
the key.
is-
It's not on the key block?
It is, once we
Oh.
figured out which was the correct one.
I see, because there's a few keys in
Yes.
there. Yes.
When I opened that little door, I was like, I couldn't believe it was like 60 keys in there. I'm
I know,
like,
it's not that
do we
big a
have that
building.
many doors? But Lou figured it out. He ran it down for me during the day.
Okay.
So that is done. Check. Anything else?
No.
I just wanted to bring up, I know we had once upon a time a library visit scheduled to continue on our
Yeah.
building look arounds, and then we had some illness over at the library, so we had to cancel that. Do we want to start looking at dates to pick that back up? I know I'm still on a different schedule until the 19th of this month, so I couldn't do it much before 4:30 in the afternoon.
It's going to be dark at 4:30.
Right.
Yeah,
That's what I
starting
say.
Saturday.
Maybe we want to wait till right after that to pick a day to go to the library. You want to pick a day now and we'll see if Karen can meet it, or we want to see what Karen's typical afternoon availability is over there, or Brandon's, or both. It's anybody's feel, one way or
I'm
another.
available.
I'm available.
You want to reach out to Karen and or Brandon, and we'll see what we
Get a
can
couple of
set up
dates from them. Yeah.
after the 19th.
After the 19th?
Then it would
Okay.
still be light out. We can be there for 2:45, 3 o'clock if everybody wants to do it that early is good. The other thing I wanted to ask folks about, do you gentlemen feel we should have a sit-down meeting at some point with the finance committee just to talk about ARPA monies and what we keep thinking we want to do with some of it, so we're all on the same page of what we're thinking for the future before we, 2024, 2025 will be here before we know it. Some things we may want to do may have a lead time, just to have an informal conversation of, it'd be like things like the Vets Memorial, monies we've currently spent to date. Maybe we'll have a better idea in the middle of December what we're going to get into the highway garage for the doors, and where we want to exactly take that money in this building as well for the engineering study being done on it. Does that seem too early to have that meeting? Want to wait till after the first of the year, or what is everybody's feels on
You
that?
get into budget season and they're gonna be up to their eyeballs.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah, whatever.
early December would be good if we reach out to Jane?
Yeah, that'd be good, December.
I think they typically will meet on a Monday. Does everybody, Mondays typically work for you guys if we met them on one of their nights? I'm not sure she has another one posted yet, Lou. I don't think she does, but
Not currently.
we can find out between you and I. We'll talk to Jane and let you guys know what might work just for a conversation on that.
Sounds good.
And then we all received a letter from Chief Palmieri today with some radio issues inside of Bernardston Elementary School this week. Lou has reached out to the COG, who did a designing of the new radio system. Do we want to have a sit down with the police chief, who's had a few areas that he can't meet? The fire department's got a few areas they can't meet with the new radios. And if we can get Dan Nietzsche from the COG, who was the lead on that for the FERCOG, to talk to us, and we can all try to get on the same page as to, is this it? Is there something that's going to be done to enhance this system to help out? We're not the only community having an issue.
I can't believe it. I don't like completely the response that Lou got, saying that they all voted for this because, and they had other options. Well, as far as I'm concerned, there was no other options.
Yeah, you and I went to one of those meetings over
Right,
there.
this way at a highway. So he can say what he wants to say, but I disagree with that. This was the option, and my concern is, why don't these radios work? They're expensive radios. They should go through anything. And what's being done as far as from our legislators and whatnot to deal with the manufacturer to find out why these things won't work, and what's the state doing as far as seeing if they're going to come up with some money to help us offset the cost of these repeaters. And like the one person that Lou talked to said that the repeaters and the cruisers are not the answer, or that the repeaters should be in the large buildings. So here we go again. Right. Who's right, who's wrong, and we need to get to the bottom of it. So yeah, meeting with the chief, meeting with the COG president as well, and maybe a representative from Comerford's office would be.
That's a good point too.
Would be the way to go on this, because this seems kind of silly to me that we spent all this money and we keep getting.
And potentially Natalie Blay too, because very
Right.
quickly she's going to be our rep as well. I don't know what Dan's typical availability is for.
Well, they could be Zoom. They could come in
That's
on
true.
Zoom with us. They don't have to be here in person.
Yep.
But I think this needs to be buttoned up and as fast
I agree.
as we can make it happen.
We've known there was an issue, but this week it kind of put it to home a little deeper, that we need to ratchet it up a little bit. So we'll see what we can figure out. I'll talk to Lou and we'll see what we can come up with for that.
I can't believe the state's not jumping up and down. I can't believe that if we have these problems, why they're not jumping up and down and going after this manufacturer and saying, what's the deal here?
Because it's life safety stuff now. It's not just hey, I couldn't talk to Lou to find out what his lunch order was.
Right.
Chicken
They got
wings.
devices that you can hear through brick walls and everything else that they can plug into their ear and hear, for crying out loud. And,
Right.
and you can't get radios to work to the walls. So something.
That was all the stuff I had.
Okay.
Lou, town coordinator's report.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to try and be quick and expeditious here. Last week on Thursday, I went to the all-day STAM meeting, Small Town Administrators of Massachusetts, out at Mount Wachusett. It was a great day. The morning started off, Bob Dean from the COG did a presentation on the way our legislature works. Insert your own punchline. Including home rule petitions, which we had a little bit of an issue with a few years ago. It was an interesting presentation. Bob sent out his slide deck, so I can certainly forward it to you. It was interesting. The main event for me, and what I told you guys 2 weeks ago, was I really wanted to go because Lyndon Nichols from USDA Rural Development was giving a presentation, and Lyndon was who I connected with to work on the direct loan program for the fire station project. It was nice to meet him face to face. Great guy. He's also a selectman in the town of Rutland. He gave his presentation on various grant programs USDA has available. He introduced me to his supervisor, Scott Soares, who gave an overview as to how USDA Rural Development helps communities. He lovingly refers to his territory as the state of southern New England because he covers Mass, Connecticut, and Rhode Island. So, unfortunately, there were no earth-shattering grant programs available, and it seemed like a lot of the programs that are out there are underfunded when it comes to their total budget, which is something I mentioned to Mr. Soares because, again, going back to our fire station project, we were kind of pushed toward the direct loan program because we were told by the folks at Rural Development that the grant programs are underfunded. Well, if I'm going to build a fire station and I need to put a fire engine in it, it would be nice to have that money there that on top of everything else, the town doesn't have to cover that expense. Unfortunately, that was not the case, but an educational presentation nonetheless, so it was definitely a day well spent over there. Yesterday, Alex Fiore, owner of the Fall Town Grill, stopped in. He let me know that the plan is to have the old building demolished this week. Didn't have a specific day, but he said this should be the week. I had spoken to somebody who was looking for a demo permit a while back from Associated Building Records, who we've had do some projects here in town. So when it happens, it'll be done quickly and it'll be done right. Alex tells me that their plan is to construct a new building and they're hoping to be open in the summer of 2023. So
Great.
that's a pretty quick turnaround. I mentioned earlier Bob Raymond stopped in today. He has been working hard, even though he's not on the board any longer. He's been working hard to update the town building maintenance binder that our old colleague Ginger Budness got started way back 10 or 12 years ago. So Bob stopped in today. He told me that he's updated septic records, various repairs that had taken place over at PI, and his notes took up probably another 100% of the pages that were already in there. So it'll be some interesting reading. And last but not least, I have a calendar in the office from Senator Warren, and it's got little factoids for each day. So I thought I would close tonight by saying, on this day, in 1822, the USS Peacock and USRC Louisiana captured 5 pirate vessels off Havana, Cuba. Now you're saying, what is the USRC? That was the United States Revenue Cutter Service. It was established by an act of Congress, Statutes 175, on August 4th, 1790, as the Revenue Marine, upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton, look at a $10 bill, to serve as an armed customs enforcement service. As time passed, the service gradually gained missions, either voluntarily or by legislation, including those of a military nature. It was generally referred to as the Revenue Marine until July 31st, 1894, when it was officially renamed the Revenue Cutter Service. The Revenue Cutter Service operated under the authority of the U.S. Department of the Treasury, and on January 28, 1915, the service was merged by an act of Congress with the United States Life-Saving Service to form the United States Coast Guard. And that, sir, is your town coordinator's report.
Nice. Thank you. Anybody have anything else to add?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Good night, everybody.